All right, we are going to create a class segment on like an interactive notebook or worksheet or whatever you want to call it that looks like this. So this is something that you can use on repeat for like throughout your class to set expectations and visually chunk different segments of class. A huge support for everybody, but also something you see on IEPs quite often is just that visual chunking. So here's a really easy way to do that. So we're going to use tables to do this. We're going to start from scratch. I'm going to go ahead and just jump down a page here and try it on this second page here. So first I'm going to insert a table, and the way that I'm going to break this up is I want a column for my icons to go in, and then one column for everything else off to the side. Okay, so I have my like title and then instructions and then content. So 2 columns wide and 3 rows tall. The first thing that I'm going to do is move this over to the side here so that this column gets a little bit skinnier. I'm also going to highlight those 3 columns and then choose right click and choose merge cells. So that's going to make one big column there on the left side. I'm going to start with my Stickity expectations library. It says premium up here, but the tools that we're using for this particular video are all in the free version. So I have the expectations here. Let's say that I want them to be silent. I'm going to click on that and it's going to populate right there. And wherever my cursor is, that's where the sticker is going to go. I'm going to hit enter and then add in independent. Then I'm going to hit enter again and I'm going to say you need your laptops for this. Now, there is such a thing as icon overload, so we're just going to do one more. I'm just going to communicate how much time they have for this. So 7 minutes right here. So all of that's on the left side here. We're also going to just color that in with some darker gray to help those icons stand out a little bit more. Now, I'm going to call this section the do now. Some people call it a bell ringer, whatever you want. Partner practice, there's all sorts of fun stuff that you can add in there. I'm just going to make it a little bit larger and a little bit bolder. And I'm going to change this to be like a blue. Okay. And then my text color, I want it to be white. So here we go. So we have our do now right here. The next piece that's really important here is instructions. What do I want them to be doing with this particular piece of class? And so in the content support library, we are going to scroll down and find the instructions. I'm going to choose this one, but it's completely up to you which one that you use. This is the correct section, but let's say you accidentally added yours to the wrong section. You can just copy or cut and paste to wherever you want it to go, okay? So I'm going to add it back to where it belongs. I don't need it that large, so I'm going to move it down just a little bit. Now, did you know that you can put tables within tables to help kind of organize information a little bit? So before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and add the background of this to match that yellow, just to help this section stand out a little bit more. And then I'm going to insert a table. I'm going to do 1 row or column wide and then 2 rows tall. And this is where I'm going to start adding my instructions. There are 2 steps here, right? So I'm adding in step 1 and step 2, read the article and then answer the questions underneath. So I have in my steps and levels just plain old numbers and letters. So I'm going to put my cursor here and add in the 1, then drop down and add in 2. Here we go. And I don't need them that large, so I'm just going to scale them down a little bit. If you hold down shift, it will maintain that same. Now I'm going to separate this a little bit more by changing the background to this lighter yellow, so you can already see that difference. And I don't like a million lines everywhere. I think that can be a little bit distracting. So what I want to do is I'm just going to make the border the exact same color as the actual table itself. That way that it's visually separated, but not looking like a million tables within tables here. So a little design tip for you there. And then I'm going to add in my instructions. All right, I have my instructions ready and I'm ready to start adding to like the main part of this, right? So the first part of the do now instructions is to read the article linked below. So you can just do a hyperlink of text, but students will notice a button a little bit more. So I'm gonna scroll down in my buttons and find the article button. and place that there. I'm going to make that a little bit larger so that it catches their attention a little bit more. So I can go ahead and link this article here. I'm going to go Command K, and then I'm going to paste the link to the article that I want them to go to. And now when they see that, it will open them up to this article. Okay. All right. So we can keep adding to this. Answer the questions underneath. Let's add another table. So we're going to add 2 by 2. And we can move this over a little bit and start adding in the questions that we want them to answer. So, and paste this here. You can type it in, and then to change the background, you just click the 3 dots, choose the background color. And I chose a teal to kind of match that teal in the article button. Now we want them to start typing their answers right here. And we're going to use a little bit of content support to help kind of guide that. This is a big support for English language learners or students that just need that little extra nudge for instructions. There's this type here, sticker. So I'm going to add that. That's maybe a little bit large because now they're running out of room to type, right? So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, copy, and then paste right here. So now they know these 2 places need some input from them as students. The last thing we want to add is this stop and wait for instructions. Every educator knows the feeling of just wanting students to just pause once they're done so that you can actually explain the instructions for what's next. In Docs, there's the Borders library, so you can even tell them where to start, what their instructions are. These insert long borders that go like the full width of the page. And so I'm going to, just in this section right here, I'm going to add stop and wait for instructions. And that's going to populate this border right in here. All right, so we have all of our instructions right here. Now think about this in class, then you can just take this next table, copy and paste, change out the icons on the side to match what you want, change out the instructions, the content that goes inside. Maybe it's, do now is blue, or if you're working with a group, it's orange, and, color coding your classes that way can be really effective for all learners, and especially those that need that visual chunking to help separate what they're doing in class. So I hope you find this helpful. If you're using Stickity on your class materials or student-facing materials, or on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, tag us so that we can see everything that you're making.